Well, I would like for us to go ahead and get started with the uh, May monthly meeting of the Housing Authority of the Birmingham District. And we will consider this officially call to order. And we'll start with a moment of silence. Amen. Roll call. Vice Chair Lewis,
Here.
Commissioner Davis. Commissioner Davis. Okay. Commissioner Pantazis.
Present.
Thank you. And Commissioner Thompson. All right. Seeing as though we have a quorum, I would entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as printed.
I make a motion to adopt the agenda as printed.
I second.
It has been moved and properly second that we adopt the agenda as printed. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? All right, that passes. Now we go down to approval of the minutes from our last meeting. Commissioners, hopefully you've had an opportunity to review the minutes of our April board meeting. If so, I would entertain a motion, unless there are any kind of edits or corrections we need to make, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the April 15th, 2021 board meeting.
I think Ms. Lewis made a motion to approve them, but you may be on mute, Ms. Lewis.
Okay. I make a motion to approve the minutes for April 15, 2021.
Great,
second.
thank you. All right, thank you. It's been moved and properly second that we approve the minutes from the April 15th, 2021 board meeting. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes. Okay, old business. Mr. President Northern, you'd like to address any of the old business that we have on the agenda?
Well, first I want to start by saying thank you to all our board members, our team members, everybody that's on the call, our consultants, citizens, elected officials that may be on the call. And we have a couple of old business items. One is we talked about a weekly board update. And so our team has put that together, and you guys have been receiving that, and I hope it's been some great information. I've learned a lot from it also. So we've been able to pull that together just to keep everybody engaged in terms of what we're doing on a weekly basis. And I know that's one of the things that Chairman and myself had sit and talked about that was needed. So I hope that's been helpful for you guys.
It has been very helpful. We have a lot of moving parts. So just these quick little touch points just to let us know what's going on is very helpful. So thank you. And I appreciate you keeping that up.
Okay. And then we've had a number of discussions about the resident participation funds and the guidelines related to it. Just earlier today, I met with a number of the resident leaders and we walked through it. And I think we're at a place, and Vice Chairman Lewis, you can attest to it, that I think we're in agreement that we can move forward in the manner that we need to related to those funds and the guidelines associated with it, right?
Yeah, everybody's in agreement with the tariffs that we went through this morning. I think everybody's satisfied with the improvement that we did today.
Yeah. And again, I appreciate our resident leaders for what they've been able to do in terms of our communication points. And I think the way we've been able to communicate and work together has made the process a little easier. And so as the housing authority, from our standpoint, we're making some changes to ensure that the process is more user-friendly in a sense for them as we move forward. And so we're happy to have that resolved and moving forward. Next, we talked about some updates on some contracts and policy. I know Commissioner Pantazis had mentioned a few concerns related to our contracts expiring, our contract register, and I just wanted to make sure that the board members know that we do have an active contract register. We have identified contracts that may be expiring, and we're working through them. For example, on yesterday, Director Foreman and myself met with the police chief and various members of the police department on our police contract. I think that our process that we went through this year, meeting with our clients along with some frontline staff related to the police contract, and then following back up with the police chief and his various captains related to the concerns that we may have had, will help us out in terms of us moving forward. We know it's been a lot of uptick in crime throughout the city, well, throughout the country, but throughout the city and some of our communities also. And so we're moving forward with that. Even today, later on in our board meeting, we have an opportunity to see some of our upgrades that we put into place with Alabama Power, as far as our security cameras and license plate readers. So we have a demonstration set up for you guys related to that. And so, Commissioner Pantassis, I think you had some concerns related to the contracts and policy, but I just wanted to ensure you that we have improved that and made sure that we're moving forward with that to ensure that our contracts that may be expiring, we have a heads up notice 3 or 4 months ahead of time, so we can start working toward making sure that they're moving forward in the right manner. And lastly, as far as old business, we talked about our PHA plan and our timeline. So HUD has a specified timeline related to our PHA plan. That's an annual plan that we put in with any changes that the House Authority may have, along with our capital fund and our 5-year plan related to the capital funds expenditures. Our capital fund is a program that's set aside for funding that we receive from the Department of Housing and Urban Development for our upgrades, our long-term maintenance, positioning, along with our repositioning of the organization's property. So we have our timeline in place for that, and we're being sure that we start talking about those policies and those policy changes, and early on. And so we have a couple of things that's happening that will help with that. One, we're working, hopefully in September, we'll start working on our strategic plan and our business plan to move into the future. So that'll align our PHA plan also. And so our board members, along with our residents and clients, our team members, along with our stakeholders in the community, be a part of that process also. But that timeline is in place so we can identify various spots. And one of the good thing that we did start recently, we're starting to really work with our young people. Public housing is a niche. Everybody don't know it, and sometimes people don't even understand it's a career path. And so just recently we brought in a new intern. He's a very smart, intelligent young man, and we're working on bringing in more interns with our organization to help us move forward, but also spread the word about public housing in terms of affordable housing and affordable housing development as a career path. And we can utilize some of our young people, whether they're a part of our program or not, in terms of help us get the message out. So that's exciting as we look at our plans into the future. So Chairman, all the old business items that was open, I think we was able to resolve them. I don't know if any commissioners had any particular questions about any of the 4 that I mentioned, or any new ones that they want to talk about.
Go ahead, Commissioner Pantassis.
I was just going to thank Mr. Northern and his team for addressing those issues. I'm excited about the direction some of those are going, and I think it's good progress.
Yeah, great. All right. President Northern, thank you for the update on our old business items. Any new business to come before the board before we go to the President CEO's report?
Nothing major for me, but I would like to congratulate Mr. Northern on being installed as the incoming president for the Public Housing Authorities Directors Association of America. I think it's really, just great for you, Mr. Northern, individually. Also, I think it's really great for all of us at the HABD and our clients in particular to have that sort of direct, pipeline to national initiatives and maybe some best practices and things that we can. We have our own thing going on in Birmingham, but there's also some great things going on nationally that I think we can learn from. So I'm excited what that means for the organization as a whole, but also congratulations and kudos to you on that esteemed position.
Thank you, sir. I totally appreciate that. And that's one thing that, like I said, over the years of 26 years or so, and I'm aging myself, but you can see it in the gray beard that is there. So. But, the hard work in the housing industry, I totally appreciate, my peers electing me and appointing me to this role. And I think it'll be a great role for Birmingham, in our house or in our citizens that we're serving. So we're at the table where housing policy is being crafted and made in DC, and I appreciate that. And so I'm just looking forward to leading the Housing Authority of Birmingham District in an appropriate way, but also being a representative and a leader for our industry members. Also, that organization, FADA, we oversee close to 2,000 housing authorities out of the 4,000 housing authorities in the nation. And so we're at the table making decisions, and some of those decisions to be made. And as I mentioned last board meeting, in the conversation we had, I visited one of our commissioners, Commissioner Thompson. She's the CEO of what is it? The Civil Rights
Civil Rights Institute.
Yeah. So I was able to get a tour, and one of the things that really stood out is that it said Birmingham, the world's watching. So when we talked about civil rights and the movement that took place throughout the nation and throughout the world, Birmingham was at the forefront, and that's what I see in terms of what we're doing here as a housing authority. The world will be watching. So we're going to do some great things together. So I appreciate that, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big deal. So very grateful to have you president of FADA here in our agency. So thank you. All right, Mr. President Northern, I'll turn it over to you to start with your report.
Chairman, real quick before then, I apologize for butting in. One other thing I thought would be good to bring up, and I know we mentioned it last meeting, but to the extent, Mr. Northern and your staff, you guys feel comfortable, I would like to start thinking about maybe when we're prepared to start doing these meetings in person again. I also would like to say I still would love to keep some of these Zoom features if we, if somebody can't make the meeting or somebody needs to just do a remote presentation, and obviously for those that don't feel comfortable to attend in person yet. But I would like for us to at least kind of maybe start honing in on when we want to do that, if everyone feels comfortable doing so.
Yeah. And I'm glad you mentioned that. We've had some conversations around that, and our chairman, Dr. Hood, had mentioned also we're looking at maybe June to start having some in-person meetings. We provided and purchased some new technology to continue with the process of Zooming and allowing individuals that may not be able to attend in person or not comfortable to attend in person to be able to access the meetings and have information. And we continually plan on recording our meetings and keeping them on our website so individuals can have that opportunity to go back and see what we're doing, and having a total level of transparency. Our leadership team, we met also, and we talked about how that the new purchase of the technology that we have to host our meetings can take place. And in June, we hope to be able to meet in person again. So that's our goal, sir.
Yeah, I think that's a good aspiration, that we can start back meeting at the McCoy building next month, with also keeping the option for those that need to participate virtually to do so.
Yes. And again, as far as the President CEO's report, I just want to start by saying again, thank you guys for your support and your confidence in me as an individual. We had a welcome reception that was well attended with a number of individuals. And I know during COVID is also a challenge, but as a person that's coming from the outside to head an organization with esteem and recognition as the Birmingham Housing Authority District, it made me feel great to know that we have the community support, the stakeholder support, whether it's, HUD, individuals and partners, and our resident leaders was in attendance. It was just really nice to feel really welcome, and with everybody being excited about our goals that we have into the future. Also, we provided a number of highlights of information on a weekly basis, but also in terms of the executive record report to the board. I don't want to sit and go through everything right now, but if the board members had any particular concerns or items that we did present on, I would like to hear that. We was gracious enough to receive 91 vouchers from the Department of Housing and Urban Development for emergency eviction protection, and that equates to close to $800,000. We put some notices out to our community at large about our leasing potential of close to another 800 families that we can lease up. So our team is working really hard and diligently on that process. You know, we met earlier today and we talked about it a little, but you know, we're open for business. We had a landlord meeting where we met with a number of our landlords. We sent out notifications to over 1,600 landlords that we work with throughout Birmingham to help lease our clients. And, you know, I think that was well received. And that's what we want to continually do as an organization, continuing to work with our partners, community leaders, our stakeholders, so that we can get our message out. But right now we're in a process of working to try to lease up close to 800 to 900 new families. Some of that is with the emergency funding that we just received from HUD, but some of that's with existing funding availability that we have. And so I talked with our Housing Choice Voucher Department today, and we sent out notifications to mostly everybody on our waiting list. So I think that our waiting list will be opening up soon. We'll make sure we get that information out to the general public also. I think I kind of hit on all the major highlights other than what we provided in terms of written documentation. Ms. Foster, is there anything that I missed that you think that we should point out in particular?
No, the only other thing is, as it relates to that emergency safety and security grant, we've been awarded $197,000 for March Village, and we're currently applying for some additional funds for our Collegeville Center property. So I think that's a great highlight.
Yeah, and that's a great thing. So, you know, we're seeing an uptick in violence throughout our country. It's happening here in Birmingham in terms of the city, and it's happening everywhere. And one of the main focus points that, you know, our board tasked myself and our team with is to make sure that we improve our security efforts. And so, and we had mentioned that before, and like I mentioned earlier, later on in our board meeting, Alabama Power will be presenting our camera systems and our license plate readers. But we did install and sign a contract. We revised our budget, and we made sure that we had money available to improve the safety conditions of our various properties that we own and operate. And so, again, we increased the number of cameras that we have throughout our properties. We added an additional 496 cameras, 75 license plate readers, and 64 flood and area lights. And we continually provide upgrades related to you know, lighting assessments throughout our property. So that was a big win for our organization and the community, and that's showing that we appreciate and care about our clients that we serve in the various communities, and working hand in hand with the police on our new contract. Again, we met yesterday with the police chief and his captains about our police contract, so we can move forward with that to provide the best level of safety. And I think the board members will be pleased when they see this presentation on the cameras and license plate readers. I was able to attend the Alabama League of Municipalities meeting in Huntsville, where I had a chance to sit with Alabama Power and their security and lighting team. And they gave me a demonstration, and I was so pleased with what they provided. I asked them to come today and provide it to our board members. I want to see I want the board members and the community to know what we're paying for and seeing what you guys are voting for. And it's an amazing system, and we hope to deter the crime. We know we can't stop it, but we want to deter as much as possible and help create a level of safety. And also, we did dedicate some money to after-school programs and summer programs. So our team has put in place a number of summer programs for our young people to be engaged with, related to traditional and non-traditional sports. So we're talking about boxing, karate, wrestling, chess, basketball, flag football. And we sent notifications out to our board members about our camp that we're a part of is coming for our young people. Hope you guys will be able to attend that. We partner with GPS, which is a local group that work in our schools, and they're doing some client engagement and things like that, along with a STREAM program. So STREAM is kind of like STEM, but includes reading and math also. So what we have planned for our communities for the summer and our young people and moving into the future is some great things. So our goal is to help create different environments for our communities that we serve, but also the general population at hand. So with that being said, sir, that's the end of my report. and we can move into the financial services and other businesses, unless any commissioners had any other questions or concerns.
Seeing none, please continue.
So as we move into financial services, Celine or Terry, you guys are going to present on our financial services report today?
Yes. Terry, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Good afternoon, everybody. Ms. Cocker, who is the consultant from BDO, is going to present the financial. Okay.
Good morning, commissioners. Today, I will be presenting the revenue and expenditure statements for the 9 months ending for March 2021 for the public housing and the Section 8 programs, as well as the business activity. So the first one we'll be looking at is the public housing. On the top right corner, you'll see the target percentage is 75 for this report period. And Celine, if you go down, so the total revenue is 75.70. There are 2 line items that are under the 75% target, and that is the mod inspector salaries and the force account. These are due based on staff vacancies throughout the developments. The second sections are the expenses, and the first category is administration, and its percentage is 69.11. There are 3 line items that are below the 75%. That is the legal, which is 23.89, and that is mainly due to the HUD moratorium on evictions. The training and travel is at 8.82%, and that's based on travel restrictions. Other administrative costs is at 39%, and that's due to reduction in work staff in the office. We go down the second page, the tenant services is at 60.22%, and that's mainly due to staff is still working with the residents to obtain the required documentation to disperse the resident participation fund, which I believe we spoke about at the old meeting business. Okay, the next category is the total utilities, and that's 94.17%, which is significantly higher. Part of that is due to the residents are sheltering in place due to COVID. And the second part is you can see the water and the sewage is significantly higher. Staff has identified water leaks through the developments and their process of resolving that. The issue with that is that some of the developments have one single water meter. And so to identify the leakage is taking some time. They're in the process of working with the EPC contractor to find the feasibility of installing maybe separate water meters to help locate the water leakages or any other issues they may have. The next category is maintenance. It's at 63.03%, and that's mainly due to the reduction in work schedules. We go down to the third page. Okay, you'll see that the total net income as of the end of March 31st is $2.2 million. We anticipate this to be significantly lower once all the year-end adjustments have been made. Any questions on public housing? Okay, the next report is the Housing Choice Voucher Program. We have total admin revenue of 84.91%, which is higher than the 75% significantly. There's one line item, which is a fraud recovery, which is lower at 59.44%. And that again is also due to COVID. The collections of the fraud recovery is just a little bit slower during this time period. The second section are the expenses, and the first category is administration, and it's 76.86. There's 3 line items that are lower, which is the travel and training and auto related, which is due to the travel restrictions for COVID. And then the contract inspections, currently inspections are not being processed during this time because of COVID. Under total utilities, it's 73.95%, with the gas being lower than expected, and that's due to the warmer weather, so that we're just not using as much gas. The next category is maintenance at 54.62. There again, that's due to the reduced work schedule during the COVID. Then on this page, you'll see the total non-routine expenses. The only thing there is a software maintenance, and that is a contract that we pay annually. and they're amortizing it over the year, life of the contract. And so the total operating income at this point is $289,506. We have an admin fee reserve of $3,690,358. Those funds can only be used for the administration of the Housing Choice Voucher Program. Below that is the HAP reserves, and that's $140,607. And those funds can only be used for HAP payments. Any question on Section 8?
So Terry, again,
Yes.
we want to make sure that, and I know we're long-term housing professionals, and some of our board members and our citizens may not be aware, but HAP is housing assistance payments. And so that money is paid directly for the housing assistance to landlords on behalf of our tenants. So that individuals that may not know. And so I know it's hard because we're so used to the acronyms and but we want to make sure that we continually help educate the community and people that's involved and try to give them the full terms of what's going on.
I will, thank you. I will do that.
No problem.
I think it's good to always remind us what these acronyms mean sometimes, because there's so many.
Yeah, believe me, I
second that.
HUD has a list of acronyms.
They
The
do.
book is probably bigger than the regulations of acronyms.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true.
It would definitely be a good practice. I do have one quick question. I saw on the Section 8 expenses, our admin expenses look pretty high. Is there any? I know all this is kind of more, you look at it holistically, but that one did stand out. Is that something that is COVID related, or something that will iron itself out eventually, or any thoughts on that?
Well, the total expenses are at 76.05%, which is close to the target amount. So the only thing that was higher, I believe, were employee benefits.
Because I was just looking at the admin expenses other.
Oh, the admin expenses.
38%.
Right. Celine, do you have any idea why the admin expense is a little bit higher on Section 8?
I can look at it and let you know.
Okay. I mean, like I said, I'm sure it's something that has a reason, but just it stood out to me.
You said admin expenses
question.
overall at
The admin expenses other under total administration is a little higher. It's 269,000 as opposed to the budget of 194,000.
Okay. So I don't know, I don't know if it's that COVID related to our maybe we like included the expenses related to the retro pay related to the voucher housing choice voucher program staff in that maybe that like pushed it up higher than what was budgeted. I'm not sure, but we will follow up and make sure that that question is answered.
I appreciate it. I'm sure some of these things are going to have some seesawing as we get back to normal as far as everything on all this. So I understand that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So the last would be the business activities. Now this schedule is more of a cash investment schedule, as it is not really revenues and expenses. So you can see here, the second line under revenues is Loveland Redevelopment 1 loan repayment of $5 million. So for March 31st, 2021, we received $6,025,038 worth of cash that's gone into this business activities fund. The second part of that is the expenses, and the total operating expenses that have been incurred is 1.3 million, which leaves us addition 4.7 to go into our beginning balance of 6.8. So in total, at the end of March, we had $11.5 million in the business activities account. Any questions on this one? And business activities are considered non-federal funds. Okay. So then the next would be the charge-offs. Here we go. So we're requesting that $29,284.38 be charged off of the low-income public housing program for April 30th, 2021. This is the list of the developments and the amount of charge-offs. The second, this page here is just a breakdown of the total of the charge off. So you have the rent amount, you have some maintenance charges, you have some legal fees, and then we backed out the security deposits that we received from the tenants at the beginning of their lease. So the total is at $29,284.38 that we're requesting to be written off. I believe underneath that, there is a schedule, it's a comparison from month to month so that you can see that how if we're in line with the prior months in the write-offs. Any questions on the charge-offs? I do also want to mention that once the funds are charged off, then they are sent to collection. So we are still trying to recoup these funds.
All right, thank you, Ms. Terry. Commissioners, we have any questions about the charge-offs? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve the charge-offs for the period ending April 30th, 2021.
I make a motion that we approve the charge off in April 30th, 2021.
It's been moved and properly seconded that we approve the charge-offs for the period ended April 30th, 2021. Before I call for a vote, President Northern, you were about to say something.
Oh, no, I'm fine. Go ahead.
You good? Okay. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that item passes.
I do want to say, Chairman Dr. Hood, is that Commissioner Davis, he did reach out and say he was unavailable for the board meeting today. So I want to make sure the board members know that he did let us know that he wasn't able to attend today.
Gotcha. Thanks. Yeah, Ms. Bills let me know. So appreciate that. All right. CARES Act update.
Okay, so for the CARES Act update, we just wanted to bring to you this schedule that shows, prior board meeting, we discussed the budget that we received from HUD and the breakdown of the expenditures. So this schedule is basically just telling you that as of April 30th, 2021, the total amount that has been expended. And so out of the $4,759,000, we've spent $2.7 million on the public housing side.
And just to add to that, so our commissioners and the community know that we're in line to expend the funding based on HUD's guidelines in an appropriate way by the end of the year. Right now, HUD updated the guidelines that our money had to be expended by December 31st. And so we about a month ago, we did update and revise our budget and align some items, and money will be expended in a timely manner for the appropriate activities based on the HUD guidelines.
Thanks.
And then we also have the Housing Choice Voucher budget. We received $1,375,382. We, as of April 31st or 30th, 2021, we spent $645,666, and it's within the line items that we presented to the board last month.
Any questions? All right. Thank you for
you.
that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Terry.
Thank you, Terry.
All right. You can continue, Mr. Northern.
Could you bring up the agenda? Good.
I think we're at procurement. Approval of award for lawn and landscaping maintenance.
Okay, yeah. So Mr. Edwards, can you go over that for us, please?
Yes. Good afternoon, commissioners.
Good afternoon.
Before you, I have, let me bring my screen up. I have approval of award for lawn care and landscaping maintenance services for various housing communities and properties. The HABD requested bids for lawn care and landscaping maintenance services for various housing communities and properties. The contractors will furnish all necessary labor and equipment and materials, consulting subcontractors necessary to perform the work. The purpose of this request is to obtain approval to proceed with award of contracts for lawn and landscape maintenance services. An invitation for bid was published to secure lawn care services providers. The IFB was mailed and emailed to 24 firms or individuals and 5 business organizations, posted in the HABD central office for 30 days and published on the HABD website, the FADA website, the Housing Agency Marketplace website, also advertised in the Birmingham News and Birmingham Times. 5 contractors submitted bids in response to the IFB. All the bids were reviewed and met with compliance for all the required services in the solicitation. The following reflects the cost for services based on the lowest, most responsive bids submitted. At this time, management recommends award of a 1-year contract to Nature Care Lawn Care Services to provide lawn care services for Tuxedo Terrace 1 and 2 in the amount of $61,950. And an award of contract is also recommended for Special Care Lawn Services for Prince Hall in the amount of $55,500. Also for Kimbrough Homes in the amount of $79,550. Also for Benjamin Green, Roosevelt City in the amount of $49,950. Also McCoy Building in the amount of $14,800 and Freedom Manor in the amount of $9,250. Also, an award is also recommended for Rose Services to provide lawn care services for Tuxedo Terrace home ownership properties in the amount of $92,000. And also, please be informed, commissioners, that 2 of the recommended are past or they are current contract holders for lawn services at this time. Are there any questions?
Thank you for that, Mr. Edwards. We're really working, making sure that we have a good relationship with our partners in the community, our contractors, at a whole different level. But it's important that we keep our properties in the best condition possible. And so I appreciate our team that worked to make sure that our stakeholders and our contractors bid on these properties. And so we ask the commissioners to approve these awards to move forward in terms of this procurement services.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Edwards and President Northern. Just a quick check with Attorney French. Can I call for a motion to approve all 3 of these contracts at once, or do I need to do them one by one?
It's the pleasure of the board. You can do them all at once unless any commissioners have issues with one and you want to just do them separately. It's your pleasure, Mr. Chairman.
Great. Okay. I'll call for them all at once. And if there are any objections, then I certainly would invite that. So commissioners, I will entertain a motion to approve these 3 contracts for lawn care and landscaping services.
Motion to approve the 3 contracts for lawn care landscaping services.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we approve the contract for lawn care and landscaping services for Nature Care Lawn Care Services, Special Care Lawn Services, and Rosie Services. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, President Northern, that item passes.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Sure.
Thank
Next,
you, Director Edwards.
next, we have assistant housing and Section 8 program, our housing choice voucher program. We're looking for approval or revision of our Section 8 admin plan. And before we start this, I want to say 2 things. One, again, we met with the police chief yesterday, and one of the things that we decided to do as an organization that's appreciative. We're working with our local law enforcement, state's attorneys, and Department of Justice to help relocate witnesses and other family members that may witness crimes that occur within or without public housing, so that we can deal with these issues. So as we continually improve our security, we're working with our policies to make sure that the housing authority can play its role in helping clean up the environment. We met yesterday with the police chief, and they was very excited to find out that we decided to improve that, that we provided that policy in our plan to help relocate individuals. A lot of times when crimes happen, individuals may not be willing to talk about it or talk with the police because they have to live in that community. And so with our policy changes that took place and the board approved a while back, we now have the ability to help individuals that feel it's important to talk about what's going on within their community to make it a safer environment, move them into safer locations. And so I want to mention that because it was something that our police chief was very excited about, and we thought that it will help out our communities in resolving some of the crime issues. And so second thing I want to mention is Ms. Drake. She was awarded a certificate from HUD, and I'm sure the board members saw that, but I just wanted to make it noted that, you know, as an organization, we have one agency, one voice. We win together, we lose together, and this is a win. So again, I want to tell Ms. Drake, congratulations on your certificate from the Department of Housing and Urban Development for the great work you're doing.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Today I have one item for board approval, which is revision to the Section 8 administrative plan. These revisions relate specifically to adapting to our current norm, adding and or including the option to conduct some activities via phone and or in a virtual setting. The Department of Housing and Urban Development issued several waivers for PHAs to review and implement as they deem necessary to reduce administrative burdens and to properly facilitate program operations during the COVID-19 pandemic. In our February 25th, 2021 board meeting, the Board of Commissioners approved several CARES Act waivers for HABD, including waiver HCV1 administrative plan. This waiver grants the agency the ability to temporarily revise the administrative plan without board approval, but changes must be formally adopted no later than June 30th, 2021. So at this time, I will go over those requested formal adoptions. Please note that all text with red denotes additions, and as we go over, please let me know if there are any questions. The first addition is regarding briefings of housing voucher holders, adding the verbiage in person or in a virtual setting. The second addition is regarding information packet, adding verbiage in person, via mail, via electronic mail, or any other electronic and or virtual means. The third addition is regarding informal reviews for our applicants, which adds the verbiage, the review may be conducted in person, over the phone, virtual platform, or any other platform that HABD deems necessary to conduct said reviews. And the last and fourth addition is regarding informal hearings for our program participants, adding the same verbiage. The hearing may be conducted in person, over the phone, virtual platform, or any other platform that HABD deems necessary to conduct said meeting. This is the end of my request to add to the administrative plan. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Drake. Commissioners, do you have any questions for Ms. Drake? If not, I will entertain a motion to make these requested revisions to our Section 8 administrative plan.
Motion to add these provisions to the Section 8 administrative plan.
Okay.
It's been moved and properly second that we make the said requested revisions to the Section 8 administrative plan effective immediately. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Any opposed? All right, that item passes. Thank you, Ms. Drake.
Thank you.
Ms. Drake, I know we had this conversation a little earlier when we had our leadership meeting, but can you just let the board know and the community at large know that what we're doing in terms of working toward our leasing potential?
Sure, absolutely. Good afternoon, everyone, again. As it relates to our leasing potential, we have contacted all families off of our Section 8 waiting list, which includes we will be mailing and contacting all The remaining families on our waiting list, which is 746 families, all those families will be mailed letters tomorrow and packets tomorrow. Also, we had already previously scheduled 450 appointments via virtual platform for May 25th, May 26th, June 1st, June 3rd, and June 9th. So all of those dates already have 450 families, and the other families had prior appointments in the past few months. So that is one thing that we're doing. Also with our emergency housing vouchers, those are the 91 vouchers that Northern spoke about earlier in the meeting. Those will come with a partnership and cooperation with our COC, Continuum of Care, which is one roof for our area, and also the YWCA. Those will be direct referrals from those programs. So we will be able to assist all families that are and clients that are homeless, at risk of becoming homeless, and all of those things. But they will have to be directly referred from those agencies. So if there are any families that feel like they may meet those criteria or any criteria of homelessness, eviction, any of those things, my recommendation is to contact One Roof and the YWCA as soon as possible. So when we start this process, we will already have those referrals in, and they've been already basically approved that, that they're homeless.
Thank you for that, Ms. Drake. I want to make sure our commissioners know that what our efforts that we're doing in terms of providing information to the community for our potential lease up, and our director of communications will be getting and working with Ms. Drake to get further information out to the community at large related to our emergency assistance vouchers. And so again, thank you for that information, and just wanted to let the board members know and the community at large to know that we're working hard to ensure that we provide the best level of services to the community and the citizens and the clients that we're serving.
Great, thank you. We really appreciate that.
So next we have our a report about our real estate development. Before we start that report, I noticed that our intern is on the call, and I will just allow him an opportunity to just briefly introduce himself to our board members. And why I asked him to introduce himself during this time is that he's working really diligently on some mapping, some vacant land, acreage, and things related to our real estate development and our RFQ that's currently out. So if Justin, if you wouldn't mind just kind of briefly introducing yourself to our board members, and I'm gonna continually put you out in the forefront because it's about learning, it's about education, but it's also about making sure that individuals know that it's a pathway in affordable housing as a career.
Most definitely. I appreciate the opportunity to speak. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Justin Sherrill. I am an economics major. I'm a third year from Rutgers University, which is a state school in New Jersey. I just started this week working as an intern for Mr. Northern, and basically I've been working in different departments. Like he said, I've been working on mapping projects. I've been working with statistics and the data and everything, and I'm just looking to keep learning and just keep growing in this role.
Good. All right. Thank you for that, sir. And again, we're working to bring in more interns to help individuals understand that affordable housing matters and it's a career path there, but also allowing our young people to have, to be a part of this process as we move forward as housing professionals. So thank you for that, Justin. So real estate development, is Cindy on the call, or will Christy?
Yes. I'm on the call, David. Good afternoon, commissioners. I am going to defer to Christy because unfortunately I'm in transit and I think there's a lot of background noise. So I'm going to defer to Christy for her to provide our update for this month. Go ahead, Christy.
Okay. If I could share my screen, that'd be great. Okay, give me just one moment.
And so the commissioners know, because of COVID, it's been challenging. Again, Cindy Herrera and Associates is our real estate development consultant. She's done an amazing job in terms of working with our team members in the various departments to move our agenda forward related to our repositioning goals. She happened to be on site this week, which was great. She had an opportunity to visit our various communities and kind of see firsthand, other than the pictures and the videos and the other documents that she was provided. Again, she's a wealth of knowledge related to repositioning and development and throughout housing. So I was excited to have her on site this week, and I know she's been quite busy. So again, thank you again for that, Cindy. And I know you're in transit, so
Yeah, thank you. And I look forward to meeting y'all in person soon, commissioners.
All right, so afternoon, commissioners. I again echo what Mr. Northern mentioned. I appreciate the staff for being open to Cindy and her vigorous path of getting us back into a different direction, or getting us into a different direction for redevelopment. We're hoping that sometime this summer, she has her workshop situated for our commissioners to kind of talk more in detail about our repositioning plan. But for right now, a part of our development report for April, we're bringing into some of those same updates here in May with relocation. We have, our number has decreased. I think we're down to 6 residents now, but at the end of April, we were down to 19 residents still remaining on site. We are currently estimating those that are moving to Block A. They will be fully relocated by the early part of 2023. So we just want to make that very clear that those residents will remain on site during the first phase of redevelopment in Block D. Our phased approval for demolition, we continue to work with HUD to amend the demolition and disposition application to a 2-phased approval. We work with the development team to review those surveys and legal description to verify the discrepancy acreage in each of those 2 phases. We did reach an agreement to utilize the acreage in the legal descriptions and other documents that were provided to HUD. So that's a good thing to secure any aspects of that phase 2 for Block A for our residents. The environmental clearance, we're still waiting to resolve our SHPO mitigation based on historical significance for Southtown public housing community. We did receive some comments back from SHPO and are working to amend our MOA with the city, and we resubmit the SHPO for execution. We have contracted with Terracon Consultants to prepare those required historical documentation and finalizing to move us to the next phase for environmental clearance. And then we can move forward to a full demolition for Southtown Court. With demolition being said, we did start our communication and dialogue for a notice to proceed for pre-demolition activities. This was to include installation of perimeter fencing to protect the site from unauthorized entry and vandalism to reduce HABD liability. We cannot commence this actual demolition until we receive the final environmental assessment again. We've been working with Shoal Engineering, and commissioners, we will provide this report to you all in detail. So I'm just going over a few highlights if I'm skipping over some things, by the way. But the developer has subsequently demanded additional site work and appropriate compensation for unsuitable materials. So some of the fatty clay, we're working to have our engineer engaged to what that scope of work will look like to address those issues. Moving on to our family affordable housing component. This is the first phase of residential development. We've always spoken about Block D, Block D, Block D. So our family units are our first of 60 new construction units financed under the 9% LIHTC program and secondary financing from the city of Birmingham. HABD will provide those project-based vouchers for those 60 units. This project will be located on Lot 1 in Block D of the project, and we will continue to work towards tax credit closing late summer 2021. So as far as same on Block D, we have our senior affordable housing component. So that's the other affordable housing units. About 142 new constructed units designated for our seniors. One of the key things we want to keep making it clear and candid for our clients is that we will work with those residents that chose to have a preference to move back to Southtown to qualify for these tax credit housing components of Block D. We know that there are requirements for tax credit, and we want to make sure our clients have all the resources needed to qualify for those. We're working with the developers to determine what that tenant eligibility will look like Again, there are terms that are based on Alabama housing finance requirements. So we want to make that clear each time we do these development reports that we are taking care of our Southtown residents as far as communicating to them and getting them equipped for eligibility to return back to Southtown. A part of our public housing, the remaining portion of our public housing repositioning portfolio, we've put our developer partner solicitation out there. We focused in on 7 legacy sites: Tom Brown Village, Marks Village, Reverend Dr. Morrell Todd Homes. We have it listed here as Morton Simpson, Collegeville Center, North Birmingham Homes, Smithfield Court, and Illiton Village. One of the major reasons why we focus in on those 7 legacy sites is because they're in pretty bad shape. And we know that HUD has told us it's pretty much unsalvageable. We rehabbing those sites are pretty, far out there. It would take us a while to do that. So with Cindy coming this week, taking a look at the sites, she had a second view from those extended photographs that we have given her and the description we've given her to concur with those findings that HUD already illustrated. So we want to move in a direction to seeing what our developers have in place. We had a call to where we had questions for developers. We answered a few of those questions regarding requesting for them to qualify. So that developer partner solicitation was centered around that, not for their per se proposal, but trying to make sure our developers qualify. Sometimes, I guess in cases as this, we put out 4 proposals, but we may not have as many qualified developers. So we're wanting to see, and we're anticipating to see what they have in place as far as taking advantage of redeveloping our portfolio, our public housing portfolio. With that said, HABD's conversion, we continue to analyze what's remaining. Some of our sites, it was a no-brainer to Cindy when she went out there. This was an easy rad conversion. I'm gonna use her terminology, but taking a look at our sites such as Cooper Green, Park Place, are 2 to name a few. So we do have a good portfolio. I think it's spread out. We are gonna take a look at what the city of Birmingham is looking forward to as far as its housing community plans in the city as a whole, so it can relate to what HABD has for our future endeavors. So a couple of the last transactions we have been working on is Villas of Titusville. You all know we're in our final phases of that project. We're looking to revise the RAD transaction on the post-closing amendments. An extension was granted. And so we're recapping and reviewing and approving those amendments. Farrington, we're working with the HUD Office of Recap, and we learned that the closing certification had not been completed, which was holding up the HAP. Again, here we go with those acronyms, commissioners, but the HAP contract and the commencement of subsidy for the HUD multifamily division. So we've been working closely with HUD, closing in on those required documents. Tuxedo Terrace, that was a big one for us this week. We met with our new real estate attorneys to talk about those easement concerns and issues. Our attorneys are fastly on that task. They have worked with the legal department, with the Birmingham Waterworks to resolve that survey and easement concern. And then one of the last properties, Glenbrook at Oxmoor, we have met with that team probably on a weekly basis now, working to resolve that financial request. They're kind of asking us to kind of come out of that deal and we buy out that project. But that project was a Hope 6 redevelopment mixed finance with 50 public housing ACC units and 50 LIHTC only units. So the component of the plans, we want to assure that the GP interest is to convert the public housing units to project-based voucher under RAD. So it's a lot of acronyms again in here, but we'll continue to keep you all abreast to those things. And I think we'll probably add a little bit more of those definitions at the end of our development report, if that helps this report to kind of read through it.
Thank you, Ms. Hilliard. Just real quick, what does ACC stand for?
Okay,
ACC is the ACC is the annual contributions contract. That's the legal contract between HUD and the Housing Authority.
Okay,
thank you, Cindy.
thanks.
Thank y'all for that really in-depth report. It's really good to see all this laid out in this way. I think, not only for us as board members, but for the greater community to understand kind of where things are, where they're headed. So it's really helpful, and thank y'all for all the hard work and putting it together. I have just one quick follow-up on Southtown's MOA issue. Is there any idea what the timeline on submitting the revised or amended MOA is?
We're in discussions this week with the SHPO office, and we're waiting for them to get back to us. There was a discussion about putting a live kiosk on site, and we're negotiating, trying to put some historical markers that coincide with the National Archive requirements for historical markers. So we're just waiting. We discussed that with them. They seem to be okay with it. They said they'd get back to us in the next couple of days. I'm hoping to wrap up the amendments to that MOA by next week.
Okay, and then it will have to go back to the city for approval on the historic issue, or what's
the city has already concurred with the MOA, and they understand. We've been in ongoing conversations with them. It will then be executed by the city, the Housing Authority, and the state SHPO office, and then the city has to finish their part of the Part 58 environmental clearance. They had to issue letters to the Native American tribes and other third-party entities, and there's a 30-day posting period that expires at the end of the month. And then the city has to do a 15-day publication. And then once that expires, it gets submitted via a system that HUD has called HEROES, which is for the environmental assessments. And then it takes about 15 days for HUD to clear it. So we're anticipating, and as a team yesterday, we talked through the timeline. We're anticipating having full clearance and being able to initiate demolition right around the first part of July.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Thanks for that, Cindy, and thanks for that, Ms. Hilliard also. And thank you, Commissioner Fantastis. Oh, sorry.
I have a question. I'm
Ms. Davis?
Yeah.
Hey, Ms. Davis.
Yeah, doing.
Good. How about you? If you don't mind, can you hold that until we get
Okay.
through the agenda? Then we'll circle back for those who want to speak before the board.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Davis.
So again, I just want to thank you for that. I think it's important that the community know that we are, in terms of our repositioning, and as Ms. Hilliard said, we have a number of legacy properties, and that's important to us that we continually preserve and understand the history and historical values that those properties have to the community of Birmingham and the housing industry as a whole. So thank you for that.
Great. Thanks. Commissioners, any questions? If not, Mr. Northern.
One about the
Oh.
senior properties on Block D in Southtown.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the part that I didn't understand, if you already a resident and you got displaced, you have to reach certain requirements to come back. I didn't quite understand that part.
Yes, ma'am. Those properties are being developed under the low-income housing tax credit program. And the eligibility criteria for the tax credit program is a little bit different than public housing. So even though the Housing Authority is going to provide project-based vouchers, residents still have to qualify under the tax credit program. The income limits are a little bit different, and they have to meet all of the screening criteria of the tax credit program.
Okay.
But they do receive a preference. So
Yes, they absolutely have a preference before anybody else. Any former resident will have a preference to go to any of the units that are developed on the Southtown site.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Great. Thanks. Mr. Northern, you ready to move to the camera and lighting presentation?
yes. As we mentioned earlier, in terms of public safety and the goals of the board of commissioners and in terms of the safety of the clients that we serve and represent, it was our our goal to ensure that we provided upgraded lighting, camera systems, and we was able to do that. We went public with that about a month ago. And as we discussed with the team, and I'm thankful for the team that we have at the Housing Authority, that we was able to move forward this in a fast pace. So we was able to sign contracts with Alabama Power to improve in all areas of camera, license plate readers, and lighting. And this past week, I was able to attend the Alabama League of Municipalities meeting in Huntsville and received a demonstration of the cameras and the license plate readers. And I was extremely impressed. And so I really wanted the board to see what they voted on, what we dedicated funds to. And so Alabama Power was gracious enough to, on a short notice, to attend a meeting with us and give the commissioners a presentation. So Mr. Boozman, who gave me the presentation in Huntsville, will provide this presentation. So I'm excited to see it, and I hope the commissioners appreciate what we budgeted for and provide in terms of extra levels of security and protection for our clients that we're serving. So we can move forward with the demonstration.
Well, thank you very much, President Northern. My name is Jonathan. I'm with Alabama Power. I've actually been working with the Housing Authority since 2019. I'm actually right now at Southtown at the management office because Alabama Power doesn't have access to your cameras. The video is owned by the Housing Authority. The images from the license plate recognition cameras, all of that information is owned by the Housing Authority. So since I don't have access to your cameras, I'm here in person at Southtown to show you a system that we've actually had running here on one of your properties since September of 2019. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. So this right here is an example of the video system that we will have installed at multiple of your locations. Birmingham Police Department has direct access to these cameras, and once their real-time crime center is up and running, if a 911 call comes in, they'll be able to go in live and see what's going on in the area. If they had a fire call, they could pull up your cameras to be able to see, hey, how bad is the fire? Do we need to send a ladder truck, or can we just send a pump truck out there for the police officers? If they're dispatching, if there's an active shooter in situation on property, they can go in and be able to view that. So right now, Ms. McConico, who's the manager at Southtown, we have a 50-inch video monitor that I'm actually looking at right now. So I apologize that I kind of see in the top of my head. I'll have to look up at this larger monitor to see everything. But she's got basically 6 cameras that have 5 camera heads inside of them on this property. It has what we call a pan tilt zoom, which is a PTZ. That's a camera that can move around. So these very first row right here, these are all the pan tilt zooms. And then with that, we've got a 360-degree view all the way around the building. So to kind of show you what that can do, I can pull up one of our pan tilt zooms. So right now, we've got the camera in a home position where it's facing a particular parking lot that they had designated as something that they need to watch. But if she gets a call that's, hey, we got a bunch of people loitering over here at the 2400 block. Well, she can actually take this camera, physically move it, and go through. And let's say over here at this store, she said people were oh, let me move the Zoom thing here. We can actually move this over and we can physically zoom in. And, this is probably about 180, 200 feet away from where the camera is located. and she can get enough information there. I mean, we can read the sign. So this is, like I said, this is one of the pan tilt zoom cameras. And when we have these in some of the courtyard areas, in areas that don't have streets, we'll actually have this pan tilt zoom set up to where if one of the fixed cameras, so this was the street, right there, in this upper corner is where the where that store was. If we don't want to do it on a street camera because it would move constantly, but our courtyard areas where we don't have a lot of road, the camera will sense motion and the pan tilt zoom will follow that motion. So at nighttime, let's say, you know, 1 o'clock in the morning, we've got a lot of movement going on in a courtyard. That pan tilt zoom will follow what's going on in that area, so that instead of just having this overall view, it would actually be this camera moving and following as somebody is going. So we've got 30 days worth of storage on all of these cameras. They're connected by what we call a point-to-point wireless network. So they're spread out so far that we can't hook them up with wires. So we've got radio devices that are talking back and forth. And even if the radios go down, because they're computer, you know, they're basically small computers, they have to be restarted and updated just like your laptop or your phone does. But even if a radio goes down, we've got dual redundancy as far as recording. If a radio goes down, we're recording locally. So there have been times here at Southtown, radios went down. We still had power on the site, so the cameras were recording. We got back out, got the radio resolved. All the information was there on the server for the law enforcement agencies to go in. So it's pretty easy for them to go back. They can determine how far back they want to go. All of these green items that you guys see, this is where we have motion, a lot of motion going on. So they can go back 30 days, just pick a spot, and it's a fairly simple system for them. Most of these cameras, you'll kind of notice, they're looking at large, wide open areas. So what we're calling situational awareness. You know, these buildings don't change, the parking lots don't change. So what with the license plate recognition cameras, which I'm going to show you in just a second, in combination with the video cameras, what we're able to do is see more areas and find, okay, we had something happen right over here at this building. See that the people go and they get into a white, you know, a white van. Well, now we can go back to the license plate recognition cameras because we've got them at all the entry points, and we can see what the tag is on that white van. The police then can take that, find out who it's registered to, and have a point of contact to find out what was going on, right? So it's an easy way of determining, you know, who the ownership of the car is, but only Birmingham PD would have that access. So the housing authority and the managers will not, you know who it is that that car is registered to. You know, that's information that has to go through the police system.
Hey, Jonathan.
Yes, sir.
I hate to interrupt you, but I was just so extremely impressed. And I know a lot of people worry about Big Brother. And so our whole goal, again, is to make sure that we deter the crime.
Yes, sir.
Not just in our communities, but throughout. But on yesterday, when I met with the police chief, they gave me a brief demonstration of their real-time center.
Yes, sir.
And I know in the demonstrations you gave me, I was just so impressed with what Alabama Power is doing with our new systems that the board approved to have. And what they said was that not only do we have the ability, not only do the Birmingham Police Department have the ability to look at the cameras and license plate readers, but every law enforcement organization in the state of Alabama, and also we have a partnership with Georgia, because we know it's a track going back and forth from Atlanta to Alabama. And so, you know, it just increases the availability to deter and stop the crime that's occurring at our various properties. So I just want to...
That is correct, President Northern. And the system that he's referring to on that is this one here, the flock safety license plate recognition system. So the video cameras, those will be able to be seen by Birmingham Police Department and the MAC. Any of the agencies that are part of the Metro Alabama Crime Center with Jefferson County Sheriff's Department, any of them will be able to access the video cameras through there. But the flock cameras, which at Southtown we have 7 currently, there are 64 more at your other properties. And yes, 100%, all of the law enforcement agencies around the state would be able to go in and access that data. So one of the things I wanted to point out to show you guys is there's a map. So for your managers to come in, maybe they've got somebody that's been dumping, you know, a lot of trash, excess trash. I was over at Cooper Green yesterday, and they were mentioning the fact that they've had a lot of people actually dumping chairs and sofas and stuff. Well, they would be able to use this to go back and look at cars and see if it's somebody coming from off property. But when you go in and you do a search, all it gives is a picture of the vehicle. It tells you the date and the time, and then it tries to tell you, so this one is saying that it was a minivan Chrysler and it was white. And as you can see here, that's accurate. So there's no personally identifiable information given on this system. So nobody at the housing authority is getting any personal identification on any of the cars that go through the license plate recognition system. Now, the police department, one of the great things about this camera versus the video cameras is it is great for reactive, for investigations, but it's also a proactive camera system. So if you have a stolen vehicle, if you have an Amber Alert, if you have a missing person, felony warrants, somebody in their license plate is on either what they call the NCIC, which is the National Crime Information Center database, or if they are on Birmingham PD's custom hot list. If one of those vehicles goes through the camera, between 8 and 30 seconds, dispatch will get an alert to let them know that this has happened on their property. And I was actually at Fultondale Police Department before I came over for this meeting. Jefferson County Housing Authority has a system just like this. And on Tuesday, the Fultondale Police Department got an alert that a stolen vehicle had come onto one of Jefferson County's properties. Within 4 minutes, they had an officer there and were able to get the stolen vehicle. One of the things I wanted to mention though earlier is I said that if you found, if your video camera saw somebody doing something and you could go back and find all the white vehicles. So we've got 1,769 objects that cars, trucks, that the cameras have seen at Southtown. Well, if we knew that we're looking for a red pickup truck, we can go in here, select a red pickup truck. Well, there were only 15. It's a lot faster for them to be able to go through and look at 15 images versus 1,700 images. And also, if you happen to know you've got a person that might have been put on a no trespass list with the housing authority, and you know their license plate, you can do a search. So I'm actually going to do my license plate. We can run a search and see, oh, Mr. Bozeman has been here 3 different times, and here are the entry points and the times that I came through the property. So you have to know the license plate to be able to do that part, but you can search for specific vehicles as well. And President Northern, like you mentioned earlier, the fact that these are tied in with all of other law enforcement agencies, it just helps create a safer environment for everybody. We're hoping that these cameras are going to be a big deterrent. We hope that we're not catching a lot of crime with the cameras. We hope that the cameras being there are going to deter people from wanting to do that. But in the event that crime still happens, at least we'll have some more information so that we can, investigate and bring closure to those cases.
And so thank you a lot for that, Jonathan. Like I said before, when I had the opportunity to meet you in Huntsville and see the demonstration firsthand, I said, at that time, and I know it was last minute, that our board members really need to see this. They need to see what they invested in, the decisions that they made, and what we're trying to do. And also, I want to thank my team members, our procurement department, our director of public safety for their work. And coming in as a new director, I know that my first week here was tough with Major Turner being shot and killed on our property. And that's something that we have to deal with quite a bit because, it happens not just on our properties, but throughout the city and throughout the nation. But making sure that we're dedicated to providing a better level of safety and how our team worked to make sure that it came to fruition in a fast-paced manner. I just totally appreciate that. So again, Jonathan, thank you, yourself and Alabama Power for your work with us in these efforts. And we hope that, as you said, that we won't have to use this system. We hope that we stop the crime. But I just want to appreciate you on a short notice providing this information to our board members so they can see exactly what they made the decisions on and invested in for our community and our clients that we're serving.
Well, thank you very much for having me. And we'll be doing extensive training with your team, with all the property managers and with everybody there at the main office as well. So I'm sure I'll be seeing some more of you guys as we move forward with this project.
Great. Thanks, Jonathan. Before you go, commissioners, any questions for Jonathan or President Northern?
Commissioner Hood or Chairman Hood, Chairman Dr. Hood. You got so many titles, I don't know how to say. But I want you guys to know that Southtown had the cameras, and we was able to, the police department was able to solve a number of crimes related to a couple murders on Southtown as a result of it. And the Alabama Empowerment had dedicated the fact that we know that we're in the process of repositioning some of our properties. So the cameras that's being installed are movable, meaning that when we decide to bring down a property or reposition a property, that we can relocate these cameras to different locations. So and that's one of the things that we want to work and make sure that in our contract we have that availability and that purpose. We know that some of the wiring and stuff may be a lost cause in a sense, but it's important that we work today to improve our safety of our clients that we're serving in our various communities. So.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Pantazis.
Yeah, just real quick. One, I want to thank Jonathan and your team for this presentation, and President Northern for putting this together and for moving so quickly on this. I think, it was one of the first things we kind of discussed in one of your first meetings, and to turn it around this quickly is impressive and something I'm hoping that brings positive results. And to that end, one thing that I think I really hope we do from the outset is keep an eye on some analytics of this and to see, one, are we deterring crime in a way that's meaningful? And two, are we, solving crimes if they do happen to occur in a way that, justifies some of these steps we've had to take. So I'd really like to kind of, put in place from the outset. I mean, I think it can be a sort of a positive for many communities if we can show that this actually helps. And I'm excited that we're taking a proactive step and not just being reactive to events that occur. And I think, ultimately the goal is mitigation and prevention and not just, enforcement. So I would like to make sure that we're doing what we can to, monitor the back end. And I think our, community safety reports will probably encompass that, but it's just something I want to really charge President Northern and your team with to monitor that. And then kind of secondarily, but also importantly, I just want to make sure we are vigilant about best practices and protecting people's privacies. And, while we do want to give everybody the security and safety that they deserve, I mean, look, if this saves one life, it's worth it. I mean, that's immeasurable and it's worth it. That's the bottom line. If somebody came to you today and said, you could do all this and it'll save one life, you would do it. And I think that's why we're doing this today. But I also do want to be respectful to people's privacy. And obviously in the modern world, we're all interlinked in so many different ways, and so many different people have our information. It's, it's crazy, but I do want people to feel secure in their environment too. Whether they're a resident or somebody that's visiting, that, we're being respectful. So I do want to make sure we're, from policy and, the way we interact with these systems, I want to make sure we're doing it appropriately.
Appreciate that, Commissioner Pantaz. Attorney French, I see you came off of mute. Did you want to chime in?
Yeah, Chairman Hood, and I try not to interrupt unless it's just absolutely necessary. But I guess moving forward, it's going to be my recommendation to the commissioners that in the future, when we're having discussions regarding safety and security measures, which the law under Code Section 36 allows us to talk about those in an executive session for obvious reasons. That we have those matters. There may be some things that we want to discuss publicly about those, but there are a lot of part of the stats and assessments and information that, as Commissioner Pantazis has pointed out, that I think as a part of those best practices, that discussion would be better held in an executive session.
And yeah, I appreciate the Attorney French. One of the things that we wanted to do is, and just with this demonstration, just to show the board what they're invested in, the decisions they made in terms of the security for our clients, but also, in terms of messaging. We want to let people know that we're, Big Brother is watching in a sense, but not in the fact that to try to get in your business. We're watching to make sure that it's safe. If you're not doing anything wrong on our properties or in the communities that we're serving, then it shouldn't be an issue. We're not worrying about who's buying what at what store, things like that. We don't have time for that, right? And so I'm just thankful that we have systems like this to help deter and stop the crime. And I just want to make sure that we had a chance to present it to our board members so they can see firsthand what they voted on and our investment as an organization to the client safety. And to second Commissioner Pantazis' information, his comment around making sure we look at the data and see the differences and changes related to best practice. Justin, that's why you're here. Economics, right? Data. So we need some reports. So get on it.
Yeah. Great. Well, thank you. I really appreciate this conversation, and I appreciate the steps that we're taking to make sure that we're keeping our residents safe. So thanks for everybody. At this point, if it pleases the board, we can move to presentations by persons desiring to speak before the HABD Board of Commissioners. And first up will certainly be Ms. Davis. Thank you, Ms. Davis, for your patience.
I'm trying to unmute myself. Good evening, everybody.
Good afternoon.
My heart is heavy because I was listening. We get excited when you get ready to come in and fix up where we live at. The sad part is that we don't get to come back. We don't. And not only because that we don't have the income to come back, and it looks like we are people that's been thrown away. It saddens me that half of the people won't be able to come back to Southtown, but it is because of their income. So where are we going to put them? And you displace the kids. They call it home. It's not like we were just in an apartment or we were just in a complex. This is our homes. And then the seniors, some of those don't have a lot of income. They're not going to be able to come back either. And that saddens me that we locate people somewhere else that they never been and never lived. And a lot of times seniors don't live long when they displaced from their homes where they've been so long. I'm just trying to figure out what is it different that we can do? Do we need to build some places and relocate them before the land and before y'all redo it and somebody come in and take over? Because it's just like we back in the 50s. We've been pushed back and away from things that we used to have and can't have anymore. Do you understand what I'm saying? It hurts my heart. And I'm standing back.
And Chairman, Dr. Hood, if you allow me to.
Please.
So that's one of the things that we're trying to do with our repositioning. Unfortunately, it's some decisions that have been made that we made that interrupts that situation. But in terms of our RFQ for repositioning, we inviting developers, not just dealing with our legacy properties as was mentioned before, but also bring in other opportunities so we can build current and new developments in places so that people will have a place. So we hear you. And you know, we talked yesterday about that, how important it is that the individuals that grew up and feel proud about the various high schools or lands or different environments that they had, that we continue to allow that to be possible. And so we hear you, and we're working toward that. And I think our board is dedicated toward that. I know the Housing Authority is dedicated toward that, and me as an individual and a person that was charged to lead the organization is dedicated toward that. And that's why not only did we mention in our RFQ for development our properties that we have, but we offered any vacant land, a developer can bring land to us, let us build now and put people in good property so that we won't have this situation where people are totally displaced and won't have a place to you know, call home. So.
That's the sad part of it, is that because everybody's income is not the same. I can live there now before you fix it up, but when you fix it up, I can't come back and live. What? That's disheartening. It's like it's nothing changed. And it just saddens me, y'all, that we throwing them away. That's how I feel. We throw it away. You know, I just want us to work together, see what we can do to ensure that they in a nice place too.
Yes. And that's one of our goals. Again, as we mentioned, with applying for a move to work status, which is MTW, for the work requirements and educational requirements to help individuals that want to move along that spectrum of self-sufficiency, but also landlord initiative. So we can work with various landlords to make sure that if clients that we serve are displaced, that they're in better places, and we can work with the landlords in a community in a different way to make sure that they're you know, moved into suitable places that they can afford to live comfortably and happily.
Okay, I just wanted to share that with you because that's just how I feel right now.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, I also appreciate that, Ms. Davis, and I'm also encouraged that you and President Northern are continuing to stay in conversation about this. So, President Northern, thank you, and you know, your staff members for making sure that we're staying in contact with our residents, because we do know that this is a difficult. These are difficult decisions that have to be made for this and other properties that we have in our portfolio.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that.
Are there other persons desiring to speak before the board before we adjourn? Last call. Right, hearing none. If it pleases the board, President Northern, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we adjourn the May monthly meeting of the Housing Authority of Birmingham District. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Any opposed?
No.
Come on, Ms. Lewis, this is a good meeting, right?
This is excellent. I love this meeting. This was a great meeting, trust me. I'm just a little upset about the seniors, but it's a great meeting.
We gonna make that right though. We're gonna work on that.
Okay, I appreciate that. Okay.
Hold us accountable, Vice Chair Lewis.
Exactly.
I'm most certainly will. Now you know me.
Yes, ma'am. I still need to come over there and play some cards with you at Freedom Manor. I haven't forgotten.
Anytime we open up officially, that's a challenge. Just come on over.
I know I'm new to Alabama, but I can play some spades. So
we'll see. Yeah.
Turner French, we good?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. We are officially adjourned. Everybody enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend.
Okay, have a
Appreciate you.
good day, everybody.
Thank
Thank you,
y'all.
y'all too.
Okay, bye-bye.